Yesterday, we got about 5 minutes of new Assassin's Creed Shadows gameplay in a developer-narrated episode, similar to what we were getting last year in the build-up for Mirage. This is episode 1, so I assume there will be more in the months to come. If it's like Mirage, there will be 3 in total, but we'll see. We may also see some more gameplay in the coming days here from Gamescom. But getting right into breaking this down, this episode is focused on delving into the separate playstyles of Yasuke and Naoe. They started by talking about Naoe and how stealth is a core pillar of the game. Again, this is the team that made Odyssey, and the lack of focus on stealth was one of the biggest criticisms levied at that game, so it seems this time around they wanted to flesh out stealth more, and the creative director even goes as far to say that Naoe will be the best assassin ever. I think a couple of my friends here may take offense to that.
So she's the best assassin ever.
You'll regret ever opening your mouth.
And that's quite a bold statement, knowing that there won't even be social stealth in this game. They showed Naoe's pivot blade some more. It seems she'll break it off into Tanto mode, as it's described here in combat. We still haven't seen what the hidden blade combat looks like yet though. But next, they showed some parkour, again in another castle area. I don't know why they aren't showing parkour gameplay in any other environment. Kind of makes me worry that there's not a lot of well-designed city parkour outside the castle areas. I'm sure there's some parkour pathing in these villages, but it's weird that they won't show what that looks like. Again, we see lots of flips. I like that you can dive over this railing to the roof below. I do feel like the flips look better here than in the other clip. They don't look quite as janky and floaty, but this is clearly more choreographed, whereas in the other clip, the parkour route looked a bit more improvised. And again, all this snippet is really showing is more of the flips and then a back eject into a haystack, not showing a whole lot. They said they worked hard to give Naoe the most spectacular parkour they could give her, but on a mechanical level, it seems to be the same as the other RPG games, just with some fancy flips. It's style over substance. Next, they showed off the prone mechanic. I have liked how this has looked so far. We can see Naoe crawling under this little space to hide from guards. She then assassinates this guy in the snow from a prone position, again reinforcing the fact that you won't have to get into a crouch or standing position to assassinate someone, you can do it from prone. This is a welcome addition to me. I think it adds a little more to stealth encounters, especially with the uniquely created hiding spots you can only access while prone. In the other gameplay demo, we saw Naoe hide underwater, so I like having a prone option. It should open up some more opportunities and potential in stealth. I like how the snow looks so far as well, and how it appears on Naoe's clothing as she crawls through it. Next, they talked a little bit more about hiding in the darkness. We see Naoe do a cover assassination. Again, being able to snap into cover is back, like in Unity and Syndicate. Hopefully it's not as sticky and annoying to get out of as it is in Unity. We then see Naoe break a light with a kunai, and then hide on the ceiling of a hallway with the grappling hook. I do like that you can do that in interiors to avoid patrolling enemies below. Next, we hop into some Yasuke gameplay. Again, with him, it's really all about combat. Stealth and parkour is going to be very limited with him. We see him try to jump into a haystack, but obviously since he's not an assassin, he can't do the leap of faith. It's still a little unclear where exactly Yasuke can and can't do parkour. The way they make it sound though, is that he's almost always going to be on the ground. In fact, there's even another example later on in this gameplay, where there are rooftop enemies that Yasuke can't reach, and so they switch over to Naoe to deal with them. And this enemy's not that high up, so I think parkour with Yasuke will be almost non-existent. There may be certain types of objects he can climb and vault over. We do of course see him on this rooftop, but it doesn't seem to be much. Which doesn't give him much gameplay appeal to a lot of AC players who love parkour and stealth. I understand it's two different playstyles, and this way with the dual protagonists they can appeal to both sides of the community. Some people may just want to forego stealth and parkour completely and only use combat. Those are two of the most important pillars of the Assassin's Creed gameplay loop. But hey, if that's how some people want to play, fair enough. That's why the dual protagonist system exists. We get to see a little bit more of Yasuke's combat, as this seems to be some type of minigame with the combat moves. It says retry group here in the bottom left, so I'm curious what that could be. It might be a tutorial or some kind of minigame to help you learn the combos. The developers also talked about the new mechanic to Shadows' combat, the posture attacks. It sounds very similar to what a charged attack would be, where you hold down the input to chamber the attack, and then let go to do a large amount of damage. I find it interesting that they noted that he can lift heavy objects that Naoe can't. so there's probably going to be some quests where you'll need to play as Yasuke to lift something, and you can't do it as Naoe. Next, they showed off how some of the quests and choices will be structured, and that almost any quest can be played as Yasuke or Naoe. In this particular example they showed, it seems like Naoe wants to kill someone for something they did, and you can choose to attack them with Naoe or spare them as Yasuke. As we know, Naoe will be the more temperamental character and Yasuke the more level-headed one, so I expect this kind of dynamic and choice a lot. It is neat that you can do a lot of these quests with any character you choose and the outcome will be different. For this particular quest, you can see each have a different dialogue option when talking to this musician. Both quests are also taking place in a different season, so you can actually see the man's breath in the winter when he speaks. I assume the general structure of these side quests will be the same for both characters, but that there will be a couple different choices and or results depending on who you're playing the quest as. This next part though is my favorite part of all this gameplay we've seen: throwable smoke bombs. Thank God. Obviously we had that in Mirage, but in the other RPG game that had it, Origins, you could only drop them at your feet. So it's good to know throwable smoke is sticking around, and it seems you can throw a pretty good distance with good velocity as well. Impressive considering it's an underhanded throw. Finally, they showed some more of how you can switch between the protagonists in gameplay scenarios. We still don't know exactly what that looks like or how easy it is to do, but it seems pretty seamless from how it's shown here. I definitely think in boss fights, as this appears to be in this example, that would be a situation where I'd want to switch to Yasuke. Lastly, we get a couple more shots of the world and environments. I do like the scale of the environments we've seen. The city and mountainous regions really do seem quite expansive, but that concludes most of the new gameplay. We still haven't seen any footage of what Hidden Blade combat and double assassinations look like yet. Those are two things I've waited to see return to the series for a long time, so hopefully we see that soon. Another thing I wanted to point out is, I still don't feel like the character models in this game look like a significant improvement over the last couple games. I do think they look better than Mirage and Valhalla's, but I still feel like the character models looked better in Origins. I don't know, it's hard to compare based on YouTube footage, but for this being the first true next-gen only AC title of this generation, I expected them to look a bit better. They have at least said there's a lot of mocapped cutscenes in the main story of this game. I know the quality of handcrafted animation is very important too, but even in a game like Odyssey, there was always a very noticeable difference when a scene used motion capture compared to when it didn't. And again, Origins struck this really nice balance with those scenes, and it still hasn't been surpassed in this series in terms of cutscene presentation. From what we've seen, I'm not necessarily convinced Shadows will be the game to surpass it, but maybe UB Montreal's next game, codename Hexe, will be the one. Anyways, that's my thoughts on the new Shadows gameplay. Of course, as always, let me know what you guys thought of it. Again, hopefully we see more soon, because I still have a lot of questions. But until then, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you left a like, and considered subscribing to the channel if you're new. And other than that, thank you for watching everybody, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, Assassins.